Thanks, guys. Thanks for everyone for joining us today. Obviously, day -1 from the first Vodafone Ashes test here in Brisbane. Captain Pat Cummins is here to chat to you all. So we'll open to the floor first, and then we'll go over to anyone who has a question on Zoom. If you have a question on Zoom, just please raise your hand, and we'll try to get through as many as we possibly can. So over to the floor first.
Hi, Pat. We saw the batters out there having hit the nets, and a few of the slips guys having a catch. Didn't see any of the bowlers. What was the instruction to you guys today? Was it to put the feet up?
Yeah, day before test is always optional. So us bowlers always like a day off. Went for a little stroll up the road, got some coffee and some breakfast. Yeah, probably jump in the pool, maybe get a massage, but big 5 days ahead, so we always like to chill out.
Given that you've come from T20 World Cup on bowling those short spells, have you had enough bowling as a collective?
Yeah, I feel in a really good place. I always say I like to be underdone more than overdone going into a test series. Body feels great. We've had probably about 4 or 5 really good centre wickets whilst we've been up here in Queensland over the last few weeks, and just feeling in a really good place. Yeah, all the quicks are bowling really well. Got enough overs under our belt, but feel really fresh and no niggles or anything heading into the first test.
You've been out there wearing the blazer and a bit of fancy dress, photo shoots and stuff for the last few days. Does it feel real yet that you're the Australian Test captain, or do you still have a bit of imposter syndrome about it?
It didn't until the launch a couple of days ago, walking out onto the Gabba for the first time, and even today, just the little things like here doing the captain's press conference and chatting to the umpires, it's all starting to feel a bit real. Yeah, just really excited. I think it'll really hit home tomorrow when walk out there and do the toss, and all friends and family are watching on TV. But yeah, it's been a really great lead-in. I know it's been a lot of publicity and noise, but inside the camp we've been really relaxed and just excited to get started.
Pat, there's been a little bit of talk about potentially second pink ball test for this 5th test unknown. How would you feel about that? And do you think that's an advantage for the side, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, don't have huge thoughts either way. I think a pink ball, it's so dependent on the wicket. I think Adelaide have really nailed the wicket the last, ever since they've played there. It's a really good balance between bat and ball. I think at times in Shield cricket, if the wicket's not quite right, you can see some long, slow pink ball matches. So I think if it's a pink ball match and they get the wicket right, no stress from us. It's a format that we've had a lot of success with. Yeah, so no stress.
Hey, just Jeff's question. Are there some rituals that you had on the morning of the first test as a bowler that you have to rethink now that you captain and you have other duties?
Yeah, I think the main one's warming up bowling. We normally are marking the run-ups and start warming up bowling about half an hour before, which is when the toss is. So I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Maybe I'll just get here a bit earlier and warm up before that, but that'd be the main one.
Just sorry, one more. Just looking back at the last test series we played, just as a board, do you think that Australia just could have been more ruthless in terms of when you were 16 or 7, should have gone on and made 450? Are those kind of things that you're looking at going into this series?
Yeah, it's something we've spoken about. I think if you look back to the 2017-18 Ashes here in Australia, our batters were incredibly ruthless. 500-600 runs. I think at the Wacker we got close to 700 runs. Incredibly relentless with the bat. So that's something we've spoken about, and yeah, at times I think we've probably declared just a little bit short than what we would have liked in ideal situations, and just let the team into the game at times. So it's a big focus for our batting group this summer.
We know that AB's statue is going to be unveiled this afternoon at the Gabba. Firstly, does it do you have to pinch yourself still to know that you're kind of joining that pretty esteemed company? And secondly, do you have a captain that you look up to in past history now that you ask of yourself?
Yeah, AB was a bit before my time, but I've seen the videos of Captain Grumpy, which are funny to watch. I think similar to when I debuted and received my baggy green, you're part of that kind of history. Alex Carey will be joining it tomorrow. And I remember thinking that was a really cool moment that tied together Donald Bradman and Richie Bennett and all the greats of the game. And yeah, on a different level, it's almost crazy seeing, being the 47th, men's test captain, the lineage of, Payne, Smithy, Ricky Ponting, Michael Clark, Steve Ward, they're the, legends of the game, which I grew up watching. So really special. Again, hasn't probably hit me yet. Yeah, great. Oh, sorry, the second part, looking up to, I think those guys that I've spent the most time watching. I think you can pick out different parts of each captain's. Steve Waugh was with us in the Ashes last time. He was great. How simple he kept things. There's so much noise and things going on, and data and things to get caught up with, especially us cricket lovers. I think the way he just distilled it down and kept it really simple was great. Michael Clark made me feel 10 feet tall when I walked out to bowl, even if I didn't feel like I was super confident. Ricky Ponting, just great people person. Steve Smith just led from the front. So great examples. Payne, great people person to take from all of them.
Pat, have you had the chance to have much of a look at the pitch? And I guess there's a bit of talk today that Jimmy Anderson won't be available. Does that change your plans and your approach at all?
No, not at all. I think coming to this series, I think he might have said, or it said it was going to be unlikely he was going to play all 5 tests anyway. So he's obviously a great player, and it's a shame that he won't be out there tomorrow. But it doesn't change what we're going to do. We've had our 11 set for a couple of weeks now, so it won't change much. Had a look at the wicket. Looks like a normal, really good Gabba wicket. The weather looks to be a little bit more encouraging than it was perhaps a few days ago. So I don't see it being too different from a normal Gabba start to the summer.
Okay. You mentioned Captain Grumpy there. I'm just wondering what your monitor might end up being captain for.
Probably for you all to write. Don't know. I hope that I stay relaxed. I think it's when I play my best cricket, and I think most people play their best when they're relaxed and focused. So hopefully we can keep that. The bunch of guys we've got are just a fantastic bunch. We get along really well. We have a lot of fun. So hopefully a tight-knit group. We're enjoying our cricket. We're relentless when we get our chance out to play. Doing it with a smile on our face.
Captain relaxed sounds pretty good. Just wondering also with the ball, the changes that they made to the bowling last year with the extra backer. Did you notice any difference in the way that the ball moved a little bit more into seam? Did it stay down a little bit longer last time?
Not really. I don't think it makes a big difference. I think maybe it held together a little bit better, but it doesn't swing a lot here in Australia. It's lots of days where there's no sideways movement. It's certainly a lot different to English conditions with a Duke's ball, but it's good. We love it.
And Pat, a lot of talk over this side, sorry.
Speaker somewhere.
Yeah, big test, still undecided. Then you talk Melbourne over. What about as a Sydney boy, potentially Sydney? Would you back that? Maybe back-to-back tests in your home area?
My heart's saying yes. My head, we haven't had some great experience there the last couple of years, especially as a fast bowler. It can get pretty low and slow. We don't have any preference. That's the honest answer. Hobart, Melbourne have been thrown up. Another pink ball in Adelaide. I'm not too fast where it is. In Sydney, great. I can stay at home, but I'm not too bothered.
Pat, obviously lots of talk in recent years about the way Australian teams behave on the field and interact with other teams. Obviously, Tim's done a lot of work on that for you. What are your expectations? You are the leader. Will you speak to players, and I guess what does a Pat Cummins team look like in terms of the way you interact with opposition?
Yeah, it's something I don't think I'll be intervening, first up until we see a problem. I want to make sure everyone beats them, does what they do best. They don't get caught up in, too much unneeded fighting. I don't think you need to go out looking to pick fights. I'm a big believer in concentrating on our own game and making sure that's in order and getting ourselves up and not getting too caught up in what the opposition's doing. So, hopefully I'll be sticking to that. I'd be encouraging teammates to do that. But it's Test cricket. There's going to be some heated moments. We'll keep everyone in check. I think the last few years has put everyone on notice. So I don't think you'll see too many people getting out of line.
Just one on the England Open, as I assume the matchups that they're probably the guys with the least experience in Australian conditions. Is that something you're going to be looking to expose? Is that something you guys have discussed?
Not particularly. I'd say the fact they haven't played a lot in Australia. Again, I think we'll be concentrating on what we do really well. Won't be getting caught up in too many grand plans or changing too much of what we do for certain players. Hopefully new players over here find the extra pace and bounce at times difficult, but we've certainly had a look. We bowled a lot at Rory Burns last Ashes series over in England, very different conditions, but we've got a few ideas, but I don't think you'll see too different to what we normally do.
Back here to bit of chatter from the outside saying that Australia's lost its aura. Change that?
I'm not too bothered about that, to be honest. We'll do our thing. I look around our team, we've got a pretty special side. We've got some of the greats of all time for Australian cricket in that change room. I think if we can get most of them clicking, we're going to be a pretty tough team to beat.
As Tim, you've spoken to Timmy Payne all the last couple of days, any thoughts?
I have. It's been good to chat. He's Seal obviously wishes he was up here and part of it all, but he needs to be home. But he's going all right. Had some good chats. Probably give him another call to Savo and keep leaning on him for different ideas and on how to work with our players. He's got great experience and great guy. Keep learning off him.
But you've got the same fast bowling attack you rolled out against England 4 years ago, the same bowling attack before. It's pretty unusual given that bowlers get injured so often to have that durability. Does that mean you will be able to use the same template from last time and set that again, or do you have to change that up? Do you have to evolve and do something differently this time around?
I'd say first of all, I think it's great credit to our support staff and medical staff. Coming off a World Cup, still to have a full squad to pick from injury wise. I think it's a good series to look back on. We obviously had a lot of successes. A few things are different now. I think Michael Nessa or Jai Richardson, if they were playing tomorrow, they'll slot straight in and do a great job. So we've got plenty of options. Big focus for us is this week, and then we'll work out at Adelaide next week. But outside of that, we haven't had too many conversations. We don't really feel like we've had to because we've got such a good squad that we can lean on any week.
You guys obviously named your 11 quite early. England has refused to do that. Sounds like they want to the toss. Is that frustrating to not know who we come up against?
No, that's fine. It's you can plan for the whole squad. So no big issues. Again, it doesn't change the way we're going to play or set up. It doesn't change our 11. So no problems.
1986, last time England won here, I'm pretty sure there'd be no one or maybe one squad that would have been alive when that last happened. How much do you rely? I know last year the record changed here, but how much do you rely on how comfortable you are playing at the Spain, especially against the Poms, and also does that add pressure to the fact that they are considered heavy underdogs here because of that record?
It's that record. Don't really think about it too much. Each game's a new one. I think the familiarity can't get the word right. It's a familiar venue up here. Yeah, us quicks, we really like bowling on it. It's got good pace and bounce on its day. You feel like you're in the game. It can also be a daunting place if you get it wrong. You know, batters can get away quickly, and you've seen all our batters basically compile big scores here. So we really like playing here. I think the first day is a sellout. It's big crowds all the way through, which we love. We haven't had that for a few years. So in terms of conditions that are, probably most foreign to England, it's right up here at the Gabba with the pace and bounce.
But you did a lot with the line in the video, but I think you put a lot of thought for captaining him around fields and what kind of confidence he needs, and that kind of discussion.
Yeah, mainly around fields. I haven't captained or thought too much about spin bowling fields in the past. So we've had a couple of really good chats about different fields. He's played 100 tests, so he knows far more about spin bowling than I do. So I'll be there to help him. I'll have a few different ideas I'll throw his way at times. But he's a seasoned pro, so it makes my job pretty easy.
Might take one more from the floor from Mel, and then we'll go over to the guys on Zoom. Thanks.
Have you decided on what the process is for DRS yet when you're bowling? You think it's out, maybe 6 weeks, doesn't happen?
So the process, and it's pretty standard, it's nothing groundbreaking, but the bowler and the keeper probably have the best angle. You'd like to look at a square on fielder to get an indication of height, and then I'll be there or thereabouts to kind of have the final say. If I'm bowling, work it out.
We'll head over to Zoom, guys. We've got Nick Savage.
Thanks, Cole. G'day, Pat. All the best for tomorrow. The injury to James Anderson potentially opens the door for Ollie Robinson to make his Ashes debut tomorrow. Did you have a chance to watch much of his bowling over the England summer? And I guess what impressed you most about what he had to offer?
I saw a little bit. Just looks like a consistent bowler. Just hitting top of off, that kind of area all day. It doesn't look express or big swinger of the board, just he's at you, doesn't give you away too many loose balls. So haven't seen a heap of him. He looks just like any bowler that's going to play a test match. Like, we've got to be, cautious.
Rory Dollard.
Pat, Joe Root's been in great form the last year or two, and when England win, it tends to be on the back of his runs. Do you feel like if you get on top of Joe Root as a bowling attack, England can't win without big runs from him?
I don't know about can't win. I think he's going to be right up there as the biggest wicket. I think he's #1 ranked batter in the world at the moment. He's had a really good last 12 months or so. So he's going to be a big wicket, but I wouldn't say he's necessarily going to make it or break it for them.
Andrew Wu.
Yeah, g'day, Pat. I wanted to ask you about Dave Warner. We saw him struggle a bit last time in the Ashes. How big a statement do you think it would be if he was to get on top early in a series? Not only, I suppose, get rid of the bogey from last time, but also in conditions where he's just such a dominant player. What impact do you think that could have on a series in terms of an early statement?
Yeah, I don't look at his series record over in England as a great look into this summer. Totally different conditions. Really tough for opening batters over in England. So I wouldn't look in too far into that. He came back a couple of months later and had his best summer yet, really, for Australia against New Zealand and Pakistan. And I think the way he really took it to the attack, batted long times, that was a huge reason why we won all those tests that summer. So I'd love to see him have a similar impact this summer. I know bowling Tim in the nets, he's one of those batters that I feel like if you get it just wrong, he can really make you pay. And that's a daunting prospect for any bowler when he's on. So huge player for us. He's coming off a great World Cup. He looks in great touch. He's in a really good place. So It's been great for over a decade for Australia, so I'd expect, yeah, he'd be in for a big summer.
Izzy Westbury.
Hi, Pat. You cited some of the past Australian captains you looked up to and learnt from, but obviously Australia has had more recent success under the guidance of its incumbent white ball captain in Aaron Finch. And he talked a lot about fostering an environment that was relaxed. I think golf and music played a huge role. Have you talked to him about taking on the captaincy of Australia? And is that also a similar environment you want to foster?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've had some really good chats. Yeah, I've really enjoyed being vice captain under Finchy the last 2 or 3 years. And I think the environment we created in the World Cup is a blueprint. It's slightly different T20s and Test cricket, the demands, but I think the relaxed environment, empowering everyone to do it their own way. You've seen a really tailored preparation for this first test. You've seen today bowlers stay at home. You've seen at times batters go and face, centre wicket bowlers out at a different venue, whereas others just wanted to bat here in the nets of the Gabba. So I think that they're great lessons we learn over in the World Cup that works, and yeah, I'd like to continue that on.
Ben Horn.
G'day, Pat. I was just wondering if you could talk a bit about your relationship or friendship with Steve Smith, in the years that you've played together. And, how confident are you that you've got that mix right with what you were talking about a couple of weeks ago? I guess that balance between it's your team, but also wanting him to, have moments where he's sort of engaged almost as a second captain.
Yeah, Smithy and I have been, really good mates for a long time. When I was just turned 18, he lived in the city. I lived back at home, so I'd sleep on his couch occasionally to save a driving. But he's great. He's a legend of the game. Tactically, really switched on. Good ideas. Always come up with different ideas. He's captain, I think, 30 odd test matches for us. So, of course, I'll be leaning on him. I'll be having the final say as captain, but I'll be looking to him for ideas at times. And then, in terms of, handing over. At times handing it over to Steve. I think I'll become clear when we're out there if I need to. Not saying I'll always be doing that or I need to do that all the time, but there'll be times where it's hot or I need a rest, and I'll have no problem handing over to him. And I think, as I said previously, you might see him moving fielders and having a bit more say than potentially you've seen before on a field, which is great.
Couple more here, guys. We'll go to Ali Mitchell.
Hi, Pat. On Cameron Green last year, he was obviously coming back off a stress fracture and he couldn't be sort of bowled into the ground, if you like. But is he under any advisory that, he shouldn't be pushed as much as everybody else now? Has he got enough overs under his belt? And just generally, how important is his contribution going to be in terms of you managing your workload?
Yeah, he's going to be huge, having that fifth bowling option. In terms of workload or, advice, I mean, there's nothing formal, but he's still young. He's still had plenty of injuries and he's a fifth bowler, so it's not in my best interest to bowl him into the ground. So we'll be using him at times. There might be certain days where he's on and he has a bigger workload than other days, but he's great. With 4 bowlers trying to bowl 90 overs, you might need 30 overs out of line. Having that extra option, it probably takes a spell off just about all 4 of us bowlers, which is huge in the context of not only 5 days, but a 5 test match series. So, I think at times he might be playing the holding role, but he's about 7 foot tall, bowls fast, swings the ball. So he's an attacking option as well.
From one Ali to the next, Ali Martin.
Hi, Pat. I just wondered, it's similar to Izzy's question earlier about the team environment, but after the World T20 World Cup win, Josh Hazelwood said that a big part of it was Justin Langer taking a back seat. I'm just wondering if that transfers over to the test setup and kind of how that works in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jail's been great. The last 3 weeks we've had 2 weeks of quarantine and then kind of a week here preparing, and he's been really great. Similar to the World Cup, he's certainly still head coach, and but I think the environment that he creates, not only for the players but the coaches around him, really empowers them. You've seen Michael Di Venuto really take charge of the batting. Andrew McDonald take charge of the bowling. It's just, yeah, really good, clear roles for everyone in the team. And yeah, it's in some ways taken a step back and let the players really dictate the environment they want. It worked incredibly well, over in the World Cup, and he has huge credit to do with that. And hopefully it continues for this summer. He's been great so far.
Last one here, guys. Simon Mann.
Thanks very much. Pat, you touched on Jimmy Anderson not playing, but when you first heard the news, did you think, wow, that's really significant that he's not playing?
No, it's probably the honest answer, and not because he's not a great player, but I didn't think he was going to play all 5 tests. As I said, I think it's a shame that he won't be out there tomorrow. He's 39 years old, played one of the leading wicket takes ever in Test cricket. So any team that he walks into is a team worth watching. But in terms of the context of the series, we'll concentrate on what we do well. We not a huge factor from our end.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Pat. And thanks, everyone, for coming along today. We'll catch up with you all after play tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.